Welcome back to another AQ World video. In this one, I am going to be going over all of my bank items as well as my inventory. This is going to be a fairly long one because I do have a lot of items, but let's get started. First, we're going to be checking out the inventory, and we'll be starting with, well, miscellaneous doesn't really matter, so we'll be starting with the weapons. And I have like a wide array. Everything that's in my inventory are items that I actually use fairly frequently because I have a vast selection of items that I like to switch through. I also tend to gear towards color custom. Not everything is color custom, but a lot of my items are. And I think partly that's because I don't know. I've always liked color custom. You'll also notice a pattern with my items. I really like big items. Okay, well, just as I say that, I put on the unarmed, but that's because if, for videos or something, comes in kind of handy. So I'm also preference to dual wielded items as well. Not every item I have is a dual wield, obviously, but so next is these are my classes that I currently have, some of which I haven't leveled up, like that one, and some of which I use like that for other things, but I don't use most of these. I mainly do VHL and Legion. That's basically the ones that I do. And then for my armors, again, you're going to notice a pattern just with the first three ought to give you a hint at the pattern. Large armors. I am a huge fan of bulky armors. I always have been. This one, also one of my favorites. Not really bulky, but I really like it. But yeah, most of mine are fairly large sized, and I love that sort of stuff. This is also not, I like that one as well. It's not huge, but it is nice. But you'll notice most of the ones in my inventory are rather large. Also edgy ones. Okay, well, I'm saying edgy just as this goes on, but I was talking more about that. So quite a variety of colors, although I would say a lot of mine are color custom to an extent. I guess the armor is not so much, to be honest. This is like one of the only free-to-play things that I have, but I really like that armor set because it's nice and big. And then for the helms, I have a assortment of different colored ones in here. Again, these are all ones that I use. I kind of mix and match some items, but I think the majority of my sets are full pieces. Like full sets, because I don't know. I find some of them difficult to match up with. So I just use what they provide for each one. But some of which I do color custom. I have a issue when it comes to multiple items for the same armor set, which seems to be a consistent trend. For one armor set, there's like 8 different helms to choose from, and that makes it very difficult for me because the more selection I have, the more I hum and haw over which would go best with it. Kind of like if you have 800 channels, you kind of sift through, even if there's something that's good on, you're thinking there might be something better. It's that kind of mentality, unfortunately. So sometimes for me, the less options, the better. So those are my capes. And then I don't have very many pets in my inventory because I'm rather picky on what I use, simply because I like big ones, this being my favorite pet of all. And this one here, which is a recent favorite of mine because it makes everybody dance. But most of my pets are large. Oh, I don't know why I have that in my... Oh, anyways, I'll hold on to it for now. I got these. This is every single ground I own right here. This is all the grounds that I own. So I'll just go through them very, very quickly. so you can get an idea. I don't own every ground, but I do own a large majority, or maybe not a large majority, but I own a lot because I like having a wide variety. This being one of my newer ones that I just obtained, and I really like that one. I also like that Hollowborn one. Oh, and this one here. I like that one, and the dark version of it as well. Did I? I don't know if... Oh, yeah, okay. Didn't show those. But yeah, there's quite a variety of these, which is nice because it gives us the option. And there we go. Then I've got those things there. Miscellaneous, already showed that. So let's check out the bank next. And we might as well start... See, I don't have any of those. I put them all in my inventory for now because I just felt it'd be easier for the video. Then next is the pets. And I don't have like a lot of pets. Oh, I should actually point out, I recently, and by recently I mean within the last month, I went through my bank getting rid of basically everything that I know I would never need or use or just didn't have any cosmetic value to me. Doesn't matter if they were ultra rare, super rare, nothing like that. That doesn't matter to me. It's just if I'm going to visually use it, if it's an item that either has some kind of purpose, like a collection chest, or if I'm actually going to use it. Because otherwise, I don't see the point in holding on to a million items that I'm never, ever going to use and no one will ever, ever see. I just don't see the point in that. I prefer more practical, I guess. So, of course, with AC items, you don't lose them forever. You can simply buy them back if you sell them, which is what I did. So I kept all of the things that I could potentially use or I would put on cosmetically. So that's basically what I did. And man, you should see my buyback. It would scroll and scroll and scroll for days. Out of my bank, I believe I would have to say over half of my bank was probably vaulted, for lack of a better word. I have actually a lot more pets than I thought, to be honest. This is way more. Looks like I have some doubles, but they're not doubles. One is a battle and one is a quest. So if usually I did get rid of doubles, like for instance, if I had a pet and then a battle pet that were both non-member, then I would... Okay, I was just about to say, oh my gosh, every time I say something and then it's the exact opposite. Okay, so this is, well, technically that's not true because I said anything, for instance, this Draconoth and then this, they are the same item. I would get rid of this and put it into my buyback if this was a free-to-play, but it's not, so that's why I have both. Way, way more pets than I thought. This is insane. This would go really good with one of the sets that I use. And I also do that as well. I have to sort through. And this makes it extra hard when you're trying to find different stuff. The more items you have in your bank, the more difficult it is. And that was largely my motivation to go through my bank and get rid of everything that I knew I would never need, or if it doesn't coordinate well with what I have, I would get rid of it. And now I'm very picky what I put into my bank. I don't just throw everything I get into the bank. If I don't want it, I don't put it in the bank. I'll just get it and then I put it into my buyback. So essentially my buyback is my bank 2.0. That's the way I kind of look at it. So I've got a lot of Bork in my buyback as well because so many of the Borks I would never use. Some of them, like the Lay one, I would. So Some of those I have. That I almost put into my buyback, in fact, because I was never going to use it, but I'm a really big fan of Zorback. So I wanted to keep the Zorback stuff in my bank so that way I could see it. I didn't even know I had that. Oh, that's the Onyx version. Oh. I have multiple dragons that are from these ones right here. These are from the alpha shop. So I have multiple of those, but I don't think I have every one of those in my bank because some of them I would never use. That's one of the newer ones that we got for the founder. I said alpha. I meant to say founder. That tiger, I don't know if I would ever use that. That was one of those ones that I was really not sure if I was going to put it in my buyback or not. But it's always handy to have a variety of pets because you never know which one you're going to put on. It's really going through my bank. It took so long. Like over the course of a month, I invested hours into going through my bank and removing items that I would never need. And then when I would go through it again just to kind of double check, I would find other items that I'm going, wait, why did I not put that into my buyback? I'm never going to use that. So there's been oh, look at this. I have 2 of these because I have one right here. It's the same. Oh, there we go. So one of these is the battle pet and one of them is the blade. So that's why I have it in my inventory. I was going to put this into the buyback. That explains it. Because that other one is a battle pet. Let me just show you my very first pet that I ever got. The Dark Wolf. And I think it's the only non-member one that I have. This is the very first pet that I got. And this was actually because of a glitch back when I first got this thing. This was a drop for anybody. And now there's a different version of it that was only for members. But this was available to everybody, including free-to-play. So this was the very, very first pet that was available to everybody in the game, which is why I've held on to it. And it's one of my favorite items, even though I haven't used it in a very, very long time. Now, just before I go any further in the video, I am just going to quickly sell that blade because I am going to completely forget about it. So, sell that because I don't need it. Now you kind of see how I did my bank sorting. So next is the weapons here, and there is a enormous amount of weapons. Trying to get rid of every double that I could. I'm not sure if I did or not, but there were many items that I did. This is one of the beta. Many items that I did get rid of. Again, even rare. You know what? I'm gonna grab that out. I have a really good idea what that might go with. So I do have some free to play like this one here. If I think they're really cool, then I would get those out. Have a lot of collads because I do like the collads. Really not, you know what? I'm going to get rid of that. I noticed that I'm never going to use that. So items that I think I'm not going to ever use, I really don't see the point in storing it for no reason. Because I just put it in my bank 2.0. I like this weapon, but I never have any reason to use it. It's unfortunate. This was one of the first AC items that I ever bought. The full collection, actually. I bought the full collection of that. Don't ask me why I'm holding on to the default sword. In fact, I don't need to hold on to that. There's no reason to hold on to that because you can just get that back anytime. So there's the Doom Phoenix Blade. Some of these items I've had for 14 years and some of which are relatively new. This is one I've had for a really long time, but there's a massive variety of ones here. To be honest, I'm going to get rid of that because I have the dual version and I'll never use that version of it. So that's also kind of, this is one of my newer purchases. My goodness, there are just so many weapons. And the pattern for the weapons are kind of based on the bulky level, but only to an extent, because it really depends on if I think it's going to go well with something. It doesn't have to be bulky, but it definitely helps. You might also notice I am a huge fan of Hollowborn. I have a lot of Hollowborn stuff. I don't know if I showed everything here. It seemed that it's... Okay. Make sure I got everything. This is another one of my favorites when I finally got the legendary members stuff. I like those a lot. More Khalids. Honestly, wish there was... This is one of my favorites as well. Love that one. Wish there was a way to sort the stuff better. Like, if there was some kind of marker where you could tag items that were your favorites, would be so much easier. Because then you could specifically look for the item you want, rather than having to sort through your entire bank. This is because I'm a fan of Doctor Who, so I decided to keep that in my inventory as a tribute to Doctor Who. I love the Titan stuff as well, even though I don't use them that often. This is also one of my favorite weapons. Love that one. It's just so big and huge, which is something you might have noticed, is many of my weapons are big because I like them that way. Not really sure where I got that. It's pretty good though. Pretty nice looking weapon, but I don't know where I got it. Oh, Fiend Paladin. Okay. I know where that's from. I don't remember when I got that, but I do remember the armor set that goes with it. Shadow Flame. I love Shadow Flame stuff, but I noticed going through my bank, I have very few Shadow Flame stuff. I have tons of Apocalyptic. Too much. I got rid of 90% of my Apocalyptic stuff simply because they all have the same color scheme, and I noticed there was no point in having all the same stuff with the same color scheme if I'm going to be specifically choosing one particular thing. What would be the point in having so many options of it? Like, if I had the options of having small daggers compared to a large sword, I would go with the large sword. So why keep the daggers in my inventory knowing that I would go for that large sword every time? So I got rid of a lot of those. This goes with a full set that I have in my inventory, but it's just the weapon is so small. I didn't have the heart to get rid of it, however, so I just kept it. This was when this first came out, I wasn't a member, and I really wanted it. I don't know if it was when it first came out, but I know for a while when I didn't have member, I really wanted to get that item. And then when I finally got member, that was one of the first items I went for because I really liked it. Man, there sure are a lot of Khalids. I didn't realize I had that many. This is another thing that I really enjoyed. The Rainbringers. Those were really cool. And I still consider the animations on those to be top-notch. I also noticed, going through the inventory, that some items that, like this for instance, has really good animation. But I've noticed some items that potentially look like they would have great animations on them have no animations at all, which is really bizarre because some of them look like they are supposed to. There was one, it's a blade that has flames on it, but the flames are static. They're not moving. And I don't understand why some flames on some weapons will move, but others won't. Look at this. That is huge. It doesn't look huge here, but in your hand, it is massive. Oh, here's a perfect example. So this is one of my favorite weapons because it's part of the Titan collection. But look at the flames. They're static. They don't move. And that's not the only example. There are other examples of that. But I'm not sure why some items are like that. Why they decided not to animate the flames or certain things on them. Because so many other options have something similar, but they are animated. So I'm not really sure. That's one of my newer items that I got. The overclocked. Honestly, I have a bit too many. In fact, I'm going to get rid of that one. I'll never use that compared to the hammers and the blades. I would choose between those two, but I wouldn't use both of those. That's pretty cool. The glaive. I don't have very glaives. glaives. I have quite a few orbs, probably more orbs than I would ever need. At some point, in fact, I'll probably go through my orbs and get rid of several of them. Because if they're color custom, like there's another one, again, too many orbs. I don't need that many orbs. So I'm going to go through those at some point. Really like those ones. The ungordly stuff. I think it looks pretty good. Scythes are up on my list of awesome items. If I had to go with a first item, I would say large swords are my preference. And then after large swords are definitely, look at that Tommy gun, are definitely scythes. I think those look really, really good. The bigger, the better, personally. I also have a decent amount of guns, but nowhere near the amount that I would have. I honestly would have more, but I have to find what guns I want. I have a decent assortment of ranger stuff, but like bows, but not a very wide selection. I used to have a lot more plushies. Most of my plushies are in the bank. Galaxy Hammer, not sure where I got that from. Glory Basher, the reason why I have this, there's only one reason why I have this, and it's the Raven head right there. That is the only reason why. So this is an overclocked, I don't need that. I have an overclocked hammer and other thing, so that would just be, this is really interesting. It's a weapon, but an orbiting weapon. It's very, very unique. Several different plushies. These are Sora's plushies. I love those things. Look at that. A squish bean tweet. I just got a squishy, actually, in real life. One of my good friends just gave it to me for Christmas. It was awesome. You know what? I've decided I'm never going to use that. So I'm getting rid of it. It's going to be rare September 10th. So, but honestly, I'll never ever use it. So what's the point in having it if you're never going to use it? Did I already show these? I'll put it in my Bank 2.0, aka buyback. Because that's where stuff like that goes. Things that I'll never need. I like Scythe, as you can tell. Lots of options. Quite a variety. The Doom, I like the Doom Fate stuff because those are huge. So I really like those. Oh my goodness, I thought I was at the bottom of the list there, but it turns out I was not. Lots of options. Fury Fiends. Another thing. More hollow bone. Whoa. Goodness, there's a lot more than I thought. I discovered right here the Infernal stuff. There's actually a variant of that. I forget the name of it, but it is color custom stuff of that armor set because I really like that armor set. So I was surprised to discover there was a color custom version of it. These two things, I've recently took a huge liking to. I'm going to have to put them in my inventory once I figure out what purple item I want to go with. Did I? Yeah, so this is also another favorite of mine. And now there's an armor set that goes with it, which I'm really relieved. I do not have very many staffs. I am not a staff fan, but you gotta have the stickabada. So next is the classes, and the first is the Alpha Doom Mega. I also have the Alpha Omega, so two different options. They look exactly the same, but they're just duplicates. Got the Alpha Pirate class, the Antique Hunter. I thought I had a leveled up version. I think the Alpha Pirate I already have. Anyways, so then we got the Arch Fiend, the Beta Berserker, Titan class Shaper, the Classic Alpha. Oh, so this is the one that I had leveled up. I knew I had one of them, but this is the classic version of it. The Classic Barber, the Classic Defender. A lot of these ones are all the old school original ones of those. Classic Legion Doom Knight, the Classic Pirate. And we've got a couple of the Chronomancers, Dark Battle. I'm honestly not sure why I bought that since I have the armor, but I'll never use the class, but oh well. The more the merrier. Dark Blood Storm King, the Defender. I don't know why some of these classes I'm not sure why I honestly have, because I would never use them, but I guess I just hold on to them. I used to collect classes way back in the day, but I don't anymore because I basically stick to just two classes, VHL and Legion. Those are basically the only ones I stick with. I've got the original Mage and Rogue and those other ones as well. Necromancer, when I first got that, loved it, used it all the time. Ninja, surprisingly, was pretty good as well. The Oracle, of course, a classic in it, but maybe at some point I should probably go through and level up the rest of the classes that I haven't leveled up yet, since it doesn't take very much to level up classes nowadays. The Collector, I remember that was one that I really, really wanted, and then when I got it, I was not as happy with it. Vindicator of They, that was another one I really wanted, so I was glad when I finally got it. Warrior, rare. And then getting into the actual armors. And I have a lot of apocalyptic stuff. I know I mentioned that earlier, but this kind of confirms that. And that's only a quarter of what I had. More of them are inside my Bank 2.0. So a lot of Archfiend stuff. I am a huge fan of anything Nulgath. I have far more Nulgath related items than I do Legion related. For the longest time, I was on the fence between Nulgath and Legion. And if there was an actual war between them, I mean, there has been a war, but for me, it would be impossible to choose between Nulgath and Legion, but not anymore. I've come to the conclusion that between a war of Nulgath and Legion, or Nation, I should say, Nation versus Legion, if I had to pick a side, it would be Nation. Simply because the majority of the armors that are in my top 10 best are Nation. So cosmetically, I would have to go with Nation. I'm still a huge fan of Legion. Anything Legion, I'm a huge fan of that. Just compared to Nation, though, this was a armor set that I still love to this day. I haven't used it in a really long time, but I still really love that armor set. I'm interested what they're going to be doing with those suggestion shops in AQ2D. Would those remain? Or I'm not sure. Not sure why I have two different ones of these. They're exactly the friggin' same. That'd be something that I would probably get rid of, but I don't know. I guess I'll just keep it as is. I had gone through all of my armors as well, disposing of everything. Now, in my inventory, I have the dark Dreadhaven version, so there's 2 different versions I have of that. The Shadow Reaver. I like the Shadow Reaver. I have quite a few non-bulky as well that I noticed. Like this one. Or this one. So I have some non-bulky, which is a good idea because if you have everything of the same style, it doesn't really help. These 2 things I just had in my inventory not that long ago. I just recently took them out. Seeing as how I noticed I wasn't using them very often. I like this one right here. It's got a raven on the... I don't know if it is a raven, but it's a bird anyways. This is one of my more recent acquirements. So there is kind of a pattern when it comes to large, but I mean, these are not large. So they're gold because I love gold stuff. Now, I don't know. I had this in my inventory. I just recently took this out. And now that it's not in my inventory, I miss it, even though I wasn't really using it. Gold being one of my favorite colors. Red being my first. But a lot of my armors tend to be more on the darker side. There's the Iron Fang. That's one of my recent purchases as well. Really like the Iron Fang stuff. Here's my Legion collection. Not very many. That was about it. So not very many. This is the only pink, or at least as far as I know, this is the only pink item, pink armor set. And I have like a handful of pink weapons. So if I ever want to go pink, I was really disappointed with this. Decided to end up keeping it in my inventory, but I'm not a fan of it. That's one of the armors, actually, that could or should have been animated, and it wasn't. So it kind of disappointed me. So kind of unfortunate. Obsidian Fury, I don't have the full set of that yet. I'm going to have to do something about that. Because I just want to have... There's the Punisher. The Pun-isher. Another Legion related. Of course, and you got the Paragon of Doom, which is... I guess I got several Paragon stuff. So not too shabby. Phoenix Plate was one of the original items that I had. Kind of original. Okay, whew. I thought for a second I was seeing double. But not quite. Sun God. I do have several different variants of the Sun God Titan, but they're not all color custom. I do have a color custom one. I think I have 2 different color custom options. This one here I almost didn't keep, but because I really love the Shadow Foxes, I ended up deciding to keep that in my inventory because I do like those Shadow Foxes. And that's the only reason why that is in my inventory. Otherwise, if you would notice, compared to every other armor that I've showed you, that one would be rather out of place. The skew robe. Oh, man. But yeah, I have a lot of Nulgath. Definitely outnumbers my Legion stuff. So, and it's not a bad thing. I was debating taking this out. I don't know if I would ever use that or not. And I just discovered that I don't have a lot of Darkon weapons. Very, very few Darkon weapons. I have Asgardian Darkon weapons, but not ones that actually go with the Darkon armor sets. So I'm going to have to be on the lookout. I do have, I think it's the Debris 8 that is on my to get list. It's based on AQ3D. And this is also one of my most recent purchases, the Wrath. So those are my armors. On to the helms. And there are a lot of helms, but I did go through these with a fine-tooth comb as well, trying to sort them as best I could. So there, I do have some options here, but each one of these are different enough that I decided to keep. Some of them, I had way more options for these, but some of them I decided to... So there's twice as many of these. Same with this. These are the only 2 options you have, but there was probably 6 more, I think. I think there was a total of 10 different helms to choose from. So that's what I'm saying. I go through them and I get rid of the majority of the helms, keeping the ones that I think I might use. Because you never had these ones here. I decided to keep both because they're so variant, so different, so variant. But I do have 4 of those other ones. This bright here is very similar to the other one above, so I almost got rid of it. This is, I don't know if I'd ever use that, but I'll keep it for now. That's part of my other set that I showed you, the one from the suggestion ones. I'm not sure why this does that. Look how tiny that is. I'm not sure, and it never got fixed. You know what? I'm never going to use that. Well, I guess I might as well keep it. I don't want to get rid of absolutely everything. Then if I'm looking for something particular and I don't have it, I have to look through my buyback shop. And holy cow, that would take eons to sort through. So definitely not something I want to do. That's why I want to be somewhat careful with what I do get rid of, so that I don't miss it, because I highly doubt I'm ever going to go into my buyback unless I'm looking for a particular weapon that I know I used to have. If that particular situation happened, then you get a different story. I've got 3 different versions of the Doom Dragon stuff, and I'm not really sure if they're different enough, I guess. I like that with the animation on that. There were several different versions of it, but I like it. A lot of enchanted stuff as well. And I like the enchanted stuff because enchanted usually means color custom. And I really like the color custom stuff. Basically everything that's color custom. I like those faces. Oh man, those are funny. I like them a lot. Yeah, there's a massive variety. This is really cool. I like that. I wish I had an armor set to go with that head, because I love that head, but I don't know what would go with it. I had several of those Galactic Gladdenster heads. Wasn't really sure what that would go with, so I almost ended up getting rid of it. I like that head too, but I ended up keeping it. It'll probably be one of those things I might get rid of eventually. I don't know. Here's another option I was mentioning, the ones that have animations, but they don't have animations. Something like that could have had animations on it. So it's kind of unfortunate. I like that. That's pretty cool. I hate this one here. It's disgusting. It is so gross. I mean, I love the idea that it changes its face when you go to equip it, but it's so gross. Some of the faces that it makes, you're like, ugh, that is scary. But that's why I like it. I kept it because I thought that was super unique, and that was why I kept it. The Lucky Paragon, I had to wait a whole year for that stuff to come out. By the time I found out about it, it was already too late, and I had to wait. There's the Mr. Yes. Yes! The Mr. Yes. I don't have the Mr. No. Or Nope. Is it Mr. No or Mr. Nope? I don't know. I like that helm. That's why I kept it. Because it might go good with something at some point. I have several different werewolf-related armor things, helms, and bodies of that, because I am a huge fan of Lycan. Because I like them. I like those Lycan. Prime Corrupted. The Paragon Guard stuff. Oh, man. When those first came out, that was all I wore. Because I loved those so much. But at least there's quite a selection of color custom. The Redemption armor set, it was also one of my favorite. I had that in my inventory for so long. And just recently I decided to take it out when I realized that I was barely using it. It would just sit in my inventory. So I thought I'll put it out of sight, out of mind, and then it will be one of those things that I'll discover. There's more Werepire. Werepire is so close to Werewolf, but better. I'm also a huge fan of Werepire. I do have the Werepire in AQ, the Classic, AQ Classic. One of my more recent purchases, the part of the collection chest, the Frostvale collection chest. So it's pretty nice. I like it a lot. And we're getting pretty close to the end of the helms. But got quite a selection, definitely more than I need. I can tell you that right now. And could you imagine how full this would have been had I not thrown out more than half my helms? Or at least the equivalent of what I'm showing you. But I would have to say probably more, because there were so many that had the same variants. These being an example. I kept 3 of them. But out of the ones, I probably threw out 6. So it was quite the selection. And there we go. That's the last helm right there. Moving on to capes, which is the last but not least. And there are a lot of capes as well. Not as many capes as there are helms. Helms definitely outnumber capes by a vast majority, because there are just so many options for helms. But with the capes, there are actually some that have quite a selection. However, I sorted through mine, as I already mentioned, and I got rid of most, probably, simply because I didn't really. Yeah, those are cute. Not sure if I would ever use this one here. You know what? I'm gonna get rid of that. I just realized I'm never gonna use that, because I have other red capes that are better, and I would pick those over that one. So no point in having that. This is cute seasonal thing. Some of these capes though are looking so good, but I'm not like this one. But I'm not really sure what I would use them with, what armor set I would use them with, which really makes me scratch my head. And some of which I ended up getting rid of, and then I'm not sure if they would have gone with something. So you got to kind of be careful with that too. But it's not like I can't get it out of the buyback. It's just I'm not sure if I would waste my time trying to find what I need out of the buyback, because you need to use the wiki in order to visually see what the item is, since you can't see it in the buyback. And that's what causes some of the complications. I have multiple different ones for the dragons. To be fair, I would never use this, so I'm going to get rid of that, because I would never actually use that. This I would use, those I would use, that I would use, and that I would use. But that sideways cape, I would never use that. It just isn't something I would actually use. Yeah, there's so many different ones, but some of these capes look really good. That's one of my more recent ones that I've obtained. So is that, even though it was from an old one. The Dark Caster. I forgot I had those. Dark Caster. I don't know which came first, the AQ3D version or the AQWorld. There's the Demonic Nemesis. I have the full armor set of that. Probably won't use that until it gets into AQ2D, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. The Dracoth wings, I like those. There's the Dreadhaven General Alma set. I love wings, so I pretty much collect tons of wings. There's more enchanted stuff right there. The problem with wings is some of them look so similar. I have, I think, 5 maybe different white wings that aren't color custom. They're just white, but they're slightly different from each other. And when that happens, I end up, this is one of the white wings that I was mentioning, but I can't get rid of the other white ones just because I have white wings, because then I'm not sure if which white wing would go with what. So I just kind of end up keeping all of the white wings, which is kind of the way it goes. There's more of those frost. That's something that I would end up getting rid of because I would never really use it, but it's so cute. I was like, oh, I'll keep them because they look cute. That's another thing I was going to get rid of. I'm still debating on doing that because, I don't know, I would never use it, but I guess there's no harm in keeping it in my... These are huge wings, by the way. Gray Fang's wings, very big wings. There's another white wing that I was mentioning earlier. More white wings. So yeah, lots of these ones here. Not really sure what that holiday paragon goes with. Oh, is that what the night? This is the nightmare thing that has that hideous face. Look at his face. Oh, that's, you can't really see it that well, but anyways, it's creepy. It is very, very creepy, but I like it. I'm just not sure if I'd ever use it because I'm going, that guy's right behind me. Run! Got infernal stuff. Quite a few. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't you take off on me. Some infernal stuff, which are, of course, Legion related. Man, this really showcases how few Legion stuff I have. I really did not think the Nolgath outnumbered my Legion stuff that much, but I am astonishingly surprised at how few Legion stuff I actually have. Now, I have probably more in my buyback, but still, I have honestly too many apocalyptic items, more than I would ever use. I'm going to have to be careful with apocalyptic items in the future. I got to remind myself, oh yeah, I've got like 5 sets of apocalypse, if not more, probably. Actually, probably a lot more than that. Not to mention what's in the buyback. There's the more Paragon of Doom. That's Legion as well. Legion and whatchamacallit. So that's kind of cool. And then we've got some Katsuna Tales. The panda. You had to have that. That's just, it's not something I would ever use. But the more white wings, I mentioned those earlier. Gives another example. So, that's 3 white wings. There's 4. Or I think there was one up above too, so I might be already at 5 white wings. I'm not sure. Lost count already. And there's another one. So, yeah, there's too many white wings, but going through them, there's a shadow. Shadow Fox. Going through them would just be, because then if one of them looks slightly different than another one, then it's like, ugh, I wouldn't know which to go for. So I just keep all the wings. Doesn't matter. Having a nice assortment of wings. This is one of the armor sets that I thought was going to be animated, and it wasn't. Rather disappointing. Those are kind of white wings, not quite the same. Spirit of the Griffin, I'm going to put that in my inventory. I really like that cape. I think that looks really cool. Stun Parrot. That's cute. He's standing. Poor thing is dazed. Honestly, not sure why I kept that because I would never use it, but it looks good in the bank, so I'll just keep it there. Oh, I don't remember that for some reason. Matrix. I just obtained those not that long ago. And we're getting close to the end of the journey. But oh my goodness, this is going to be one heck of a long video because I knew it was going to be because, I mean, goodness, you're going through a 15-year-old bank. Well, 14, I guess. No, it is 15, isn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is 15. There's not a white wing thing. So definitely got no shortage of white wings, that's for sure. Definitely not a shortage, which is a good thing, I guess. Don't know if I need that. But you know what? I don't think I do. I'm going to take that out. Probably sell that. But there we go. So that is the thing. That is what I have for my bank and my inventory. But hope you guys enjoyed. What does your bank and inventory look like? Do you have more or less items than me, or some items that you saw in this video that you wanted or that you have that you really enjoy? Let me know in the comments below. That is it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.